Hi everyone, and welcome to ESCXTRA. We've got an exciting interview today. So I'm going to hand over to our 2020 North Macedonian entry, Vasil Garvanliev. Hello.
Hi, Matt. Hi, everyone. How are you?
I think we're all good. That's not actually, I'm going to jump in with a very, very important question, first of all.
Okay.
And that is, how are you?
Hanging in there like everybody else. It's been an interesting few months. To be honest, today, after 3 months, I was finally allowed to go out for coffee in a coffee shop, and it just felt weird. But like everybody else, we are in this together. It's been interesting few months, getting closer with family, getting closer with myself, and trying to stay sane and creative. How was that?
It's weird times, really weird times. So I've been quite excited to do this interview, and I'll tell you why. Because of your story, your incredible story, and like every good story, we should start at the beginning. So from a very early age, you found music, and you became, again, quite an early age, you became a child star back in Macedonia, or was it Yugoslavia?
At the time, Macedonia.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
let me think. Yes, sorry, Macedonia at the time.
So that must have been crazy. And at the peak of your popularity as a child star, you then moved to the US. So I'm just interested. Tell me a bit about what you remember about that whole experience.
At the time, if I put myself back there, it was the scariest, craziest time I've been through. Now, looking back to that time, it was the biggest blessing in disguise, because many people analyze the psyches of child stars. You know, it's just you start going at this so fast. Fans are running around, autographs, you can't do anything. And then all of a sudden, for us, we move to a land where I don't speak the language. So that shock, I think, is the best lesson nowadays when I look back, because it's what taught me the importance of being humble, whether you like it or not. So, and for me, showed me that no matter what, maybe I don't speak the language, I speak music. So there was bullying, all of that started, despite, because your status of who you were back home all of a sudden was gone like that. And until I opened my mouth to sing and see that that is how I connect with people, it was not an easy time. And I was 12 at the time.
Wow. And then, so through music, you kind of found your feet a little bit, maybe, right? So at what point, so 9/11 happened in the US, and then your family were deported from the US. It was weird at the time. And so I can't begin to imagine what that must have been like. So can you explain a little bit about what you remember about that time?
Ooh, you're giving me all the good ones. I love this. So as you can see, one of the things that I've had to accept in my life, it's been interesting that nothing is easy. That I was supposed to go study in New York, had a full scholarship, and then all of a sudden all of that was gone. So to go back once again, at the time, I thought that was one of the hardest things, because here I was getting ready to make my dream happen. I was singing choral music, started singing musicals, joined the choir, in which I was introduced to this unbelievable world, and then decided that classical music was what I was going to study, and all of that was taken away. So once again, going back, very rough, but another blessing in disguise, because it opened up another world to me. So I don't know if that's enough of an answer without going too much into the stories of it all.
No, of course. I mean, so what that brought, I suppose, was then this, like you say, you know, sometimes you can get the good stuff out of the bad stuff. So you traveled around then. So there was time you spent in London, in Italy.
Yeah. So the story, going back, the most important lesson from this deportation was the importance of chosen family. Is when you choose the piece. So nowadays, when anything happens, it's those people that I bonded with in that time when the deportation happened, you realize that your family is always there, but there's something called chosen family, which is even more important, that are always there. And for me, yet, once again, it was through music. Then I ended up living in Milan for a year. I was to study at the Royal College in London, but visas for us, always visas were issues. And then I ended up moving to Toronto, where I got full scholarship at the Royal Conservatory and then graduated with honors from University of Toronto. And was lucky enough that my first year of undergraduate was discovered by an opera director and taken as one of the main singers, first in the chorus, then became a lead while I was still an undergrad. So it took me on this amazing 13-year journey of doing opera and that discipline of singing, that while on the side, I still dabbled into the world of singing backup for the pop stars, meeting all these people. So it's been interesting, kind of underground, so to speak, in popular terms, but still very, very prominently active in the music world.
Yeah, so you have worked with lots of different people, lived in lots of different places. And so when I say people, obviously some mega stars, right? Tell us about that, but also how's that shaped you as a person and your music?
Ooh, the best lesson, the first thing that comes to mind, it wasn't singing. We ended up singing for the 20 most influential people in the world, and Maya Angelou was one of them. I was little at this time. And I remember she came up to us afterwards and just said, "Child, no matter what, always go after truth. If you follow your truth, nobody can touch you." So if I encapsulate those lessons, that is it. And then for singers, it was an opera star who said, "You have nothing to prove. You have worked your butt off. You have studied for 10 years. You're learning your craft. Don't sing to prove anything. Show people, bring them in." So it's the lessons of that, yes, I don't know if many people realize how hard we work at, especially bringing it to Eurovision. You work your butt off for those 3 minutes on stage. And it's how do you remain humble and honest and take that wave of energy that comes your way to just be like, "Hey, this is me and let's do this." So once again, humility, humbleness, those are the lessons taught when you watch the big guys.
Absolutely. And actually, when Maya Angelou speaks, you listen, right?
Oh, you sure do.
On to Eurovision then.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel like you have a relationship with Eurovision because you have, like some other singers as well, you were backing singer to Tamara Tedesco in 2019. And then, yep, and then selected in your own right as this year's entry, North Macedonia. So how did they both come about, those situations? Because one led on to the other, right?
I would say serendipity. I mean, one of those things, yes, I grew up as a child. I've wanted to do this since I knew what Eurovision was all about. So how you go about it, you never know, especially for us. There used to be a festival, and my first journey was in 2007. I ended up doing the finals with a song I wrote. And then this came about by chance. I knew Tamara was chosen. I love her voice. I love her as a person. We weren't that close. And I remember they called me from the studio and I heard her sing in English. And I said, "Sister, you can sing, but you can't sing in English." So our journey started. I said, "I'm coming to the studio to teach you how to do it properly in English." And then while I was in the studio, she goes, "Get in there and sing." And I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "You're coming with me. You're going to prep me." So that's kind of by chance. That happened last year, and it was the best gift, best dress rehearsal one could hope for, because we were actually on stage. You didn't see us on camera, but to experience that energy of the fans and the audience on stage, that is I would say for any of us performing, the hardest thing, how to channel that, bring it in, and then do it. And I remember very bluntly, I had a conversation with our head of delegation, and I said, "I hope you get to meet me with this. And because we choose our singers internally, I said, I'm ready for the responsibility. So I'm putting myself forward," I said bluntly, and telling you that I would love this opportunity. And then the call came this early January, which was something I've been waiting for a very long time. And then Corona. So.
But there's always a future. We'll come on to that in a second. But I think it's interesting. I saw Tamara. She came to London and done a concert at the Royal Vauxhall Tavern, and oh my God, if you didn't think she could sing from what you saw at Eurovision, seeing her up close, she can sing for sure.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, great. So your song though, you
Mm-hmm.
for this year, um, I've read lots of stuff about it. I've seen interviews that you've done. So there's different interpretations. So what does the song mean to you? What
To
did you?
me, as I keep saying it, I'm sure I've said it before, it's an invitation for us to connect through dance to celebrate the given moment. So the choosing of the song was an interesting journey because many people know me as a singer who can wear many hats. So it was like, which hat do you actually put on to show on this stage? And of all the songs that came through, and I've said that I submitted some of my own too, I love this because to me, maybe, especially in the radio edit, the voice is not the most prominent thing. And I said, okay, this will be a chance to burn the stage on fire, to literally let me do my thing from that side. For the ones who know my dance background, even though I come from more serious music. So, and it was the perfect blend of East meets West. And that was what the main message for that was for all of us to connect, come together through the celebration of dance.
And so, just about that then, because you, what were you going to do on stage with that then? Because you talk about fire and connecting, and there were big plans, weren't there?
Yes, there were, alas. So we had the last things we did. I was planning on, so go back to the music video a little bit. On purpose, we wanted to do a conceptual music video where it looks like boy meets girl dances, but it's absolutely not what it was. And we did not want to explain that because to me, that began our journey of you connected to you. You are beautiful, you are powerful. And the fact that all of us, we have a masculine and a feminine side to us. And depending on how much we accept of what we are, who we are, whatever given time, one dominates over the other one. So to me, that was, the music video was kind of that battle of choices you go through. Do you do it? Do you not? And that's why it was kind of, you could see it was dance, but it was more of a manipulative, kind of a dominatrixy, dare I say it. So that was a starting point. We wanted a conceptual music video for which I would have introduced the signature dance move during the promo tour, which I was so looking forward to. And I had one rehearsal with Tine, who came from Sweden. And then we auditioned the girls, because that was another big component to what the stage was. I on purpose chose 4 of the most powerful, dare I say, the best female voices, whom I believe will in the very near future represent. And I wanted their chance to shine. And on purpose, we didn't record them on the radio edit. So you get to experience the power of the voices live. And the day I was supposed to get the music, this damn thing, sorry. The day I was supposed to get the music video, the video recording of the choreography was all canceled. So we never actually got it. Ideas, I don't want to share too much in case, you never know, 2021, come on.
So yeah, what is
but I can tell you that we were going to use both stages. A lot of the transparent screens would have been used. There would have been 4 of us on stage, 2 behind stage. There is a Macedonian phrase in the song that talks about 3 brides, 3 women. So there would have been 3 women and me on stage. Would have started very dark, ended very, very bright with our idea of incorporating the dance move and end with the audience. So that was the journey of the song.
And was the song, do you know, written for Eurovision in mind? I always ask that because I'm really interested about when it comes to Eurovision. Yeah.
So when I announced that I'm doing it, I remember I flew to Toronto, had a performance there and was recording. And the person who wrote it ended up calling me and he said, Vas, tell me about your voice. Tell me what you expect, what you want. So I actually had a personal chat with her, good 20 minutes, telling her exactly what I'm after in that. And I admit, if you had asked me, is that what you would do for Eurovision? Absolutely not. But when I heard it with all of the other submitted songs, I said, you know what? This song I know I can make special on stage. Because for me, that's the thing we forget, that it's the song competition on stage. And what we see in music videos prior to is, yes, it leads you up to that. But ultimately a song, that's the true test, is how does it stand on that ginormous stage and what happens? So that song was definitely written, them knowing my voice, knowing what I was expecting. And I just told them I want East meets West.
And I think actually your music, if you go back through the songs that you've released up to now, your back catalogue. Obviously, we do that when an artist is announced as this is the entry. Curiously, like what's their song they're going to bring? What's it going to sound like? You know, trying to get any information you can. So obviously, excuse the pronunciation, but is it Patuvam?
Patuvam, yeah.
Patuvam and Maya Angelou. I know that's since, but those two very different songs, but very much you, I think, as in you, not your song, you. Very much,
Yeah.
So I suppose, two-part question. First part of this is, what is the latest about 2021 and you coming back to Eurovision, perhaps? What you had your fingers crossed. Is that because we're waiting for a...
I'm waiting for any sort of answer. They still don't know. They're still deliberating a lot, so not up to me, but come on, Eurovision gods, come on, Macedonian television. Give me my chance. No, we'll see. It's up to them. So for us, you know, if you ask me, I believe that all of us from this year should go. It's only fair because you get so close to your dream, it stops. Music doesn't stop, so that's the beautiful thing. We keep continuing. I'm so thankful for all the messages that have come my way, meeting all the fans virtually, but that's the thing. It's a dream to make it happen in person.
Yeah, it's the same thing that we say to people whose songs that they love don't get through or don't do well at Eurovision. We say, calm down, you've still got the song, you've still got them. You know, it's just a competition at the end of the day. It's a good way to look at it, I think. But would you, so if there was you as the participant next year, would you have the same sort of approach maybe to the way you might pick a song, or would you want to go in a different direction, something a bit more like just whatever the different you had as the song this year? Would you want to go in a different direction because it's a new year in a different contest maybe?
For me, new year, new story. Completely agree with that. I would say it will be either extreme. If it's a fast song, it will be you times 30. I want. If it's a fast song, if it's a slow song, then I would love a naked, powerful ballad. So, you know, it's literally the extremes of that. I was leaning towards a ballad this year, but knowing what Tamara did last year, was thinking of all of the journeys. I said, okay, you know, we don't want to get in the same pattern with all of that. So we'll see. New year, new story for that. But I can tell you that ideas are already coming through. And I'll leave it at that.
Of course. Now, obviously, it would be a travesty though if you weren't asked back. I think there'll be a bit of a kickback with the Euro fandom because I think everyone's kind of like wanting the people who lost out this year to come back.
Yeah.
So hopefully, fingers crossed. But I tell you, all that aside, you know, Eurovision aside, you as an artist, your music going forward, I want to know what exciting things we've got planned. All right, you know what you've got regardless of Eurovision. What's upcoming?
Okay, so what I'm focusing on right now, which is the reason I ended up leaving everything behind and moving back home, is that Macedonian album. I moved back because I believe in the power of our music, the power of our roots, using the ethnic roots and whatnot. So I'm in the process of finalizing my album, which should be done ideally July, August, and I plan to premiere and promote that September with a big concert, conceptual concert. And parallel to that, I'm also working on my first English EP. So doing that, which will be completely different. So I wanted the story of the Macedonian music to focus on roots, all of the journey of that, Moja ulica Patuvam Gerdan, which have the story of the traveler. You are this migrating bird that travels the world, but we do it in a way where we share what we are, who we are. So those are the two big chunks of what is coming.
Great. We'll look forward to it. I do want to ask you, actually, I have a Macedonian friend and I said that I'm interviewing you. And, you know, is there any question that you would want me to ask? And he said, yes. So I'm literally just going to read it to you. His name's Mickey. And Mickey says, how have you found lockdown? And have you been able to write and sing and stuff during this period?
How have I found it? Well, we mentioned that at the beginning. It was... The first thing I did was, because I was home just my mom and I, she taught me all of my childhood recipes. So I learned how to cook all of my favorite meals. So I'll cook for you. Lots of music writing, lots of yoga, dance classes. I'm taking a lot of dance classes on Instagram, Insta Live. YouTube. And that's it. And just finally, I can't remember having had this much time just to myself. And I've taken advantage of that, which has inspired me, of course, to write a lot of music. And yeah, it has been used very creatively. So
Good. Well, we're very excited to hear from you, and still fingers crossed next year. But if not, we're going to be following you. We'll see, you know, the new EP, the new album. So, is there, just to say goodbye to everyone for now, what would you want to say to your fans who have supported you so far?
I thank you, and I really mean that. Your messages mean the world. I love you, and I look forward to singing with you very, very soon.
Well, that's great, Vasil. So we will see you very, very soon. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.